Comparing two players who played for different national teams and clubs, and though with a solid merging of years, actually in two different time frames, it's very tough honestly, and in a perfect world, we shouldn't do it. So I am guilty as charged for making this video. But am I? Both of them played in La Liga at the same time from 2012 to 2018 in two teams who probably have the biggest rivalries in world football. Both of them played in a very similar center midfield position, though their roles were not exactly the same in their respective teams, but often very similar, and both of their national teams are actually very good and a force in world football. And above all, both of them are so damn good that undoubtedly they will be among the top 5 midfielders of this century. So in a nutshell, I can totally see why people compare them so much and argue over their supremacy. In this video, I'll try to find the answer with a thorough analysis. Who is better, Iniesta or Modric? So without further ado, let's jump into that. Let's first start with their goals and assists comparison. Andres Iniesta has so far played 860 games and scored 89 times and assisted 163 times, whereas Luka Modric played 747 games and while making this video scoring 86 times and assisting in 123 cases.
Are they good?
So on an overall stat basis, Iniesta has a .293 match to goal contribution ratio, whereas Modric has a .28 match to goal contribution ratio, which are really very close. But these stats are not comparable for many reasons, among which the main reason is one is still playing in the top level, meaning for Real Madrid, and the other has already played a significant number of games in the J1 league and is now playing in UAE. Modric also played in Dynamo Zagreb at the beginning of his career, which is not a very superior league either.
It's not that bad.
So I think the best comparison for them will be if we compare Modric's number for just Spurs and Real Madrid and Iniesta's number for Barcelona alone. Now Iniesta had played 674 matches for Barcelona in all competitions, scoring 57 times and assisting 137 times. On the other hand, for Spurs and Real Madrid, Modric played 652 matches in all competitions with the goal and assist figures of 54 and 102. So if we consider only this, Iniesta has a match to goal contribution ratio of .288 and Modric has .239. So in this comparison, Iniesta is slightly ahead of Modric, and that does make sense as though both of them in a broad technical view are actually central midfielders. Iniesta's role in the team was definitely more attacking focused than Modric. Modric owned the UCL for 5 times, whereas Iniesta owned it 4 times. But one time among them in 2005-06, he was actually very young and not really played any part in winning the trophy.
I did my job.
However, Iniesta owned the La Liga title 9 times and Modric owned it just thrice. This is a huge gap, to be honest. One thing about prime Barcelona was when they kinda own it all. They owned the Hexa in 2009, Bayern is the only other team to match that incredible feat in 2020, and then again they owned the treble in the 2014-15 season. So if we look at the cumulative club trophies of Modric and Iniesta, it is easy to identify that Iniesta's career was way more illustrious than Modric's.
I just happen to be better at it.
Though I know that some people think winning silverwares can't be a criteria while comparing between two players, that statement is only partially true. It will be really tough to compare, for example, Benzema versus Drogba, because one played mostly all his prime in La Liga and one in Premier League. One's national team is literally one of the very best in the world football, and the other one's, though very brave and admirable, is a much smaller team and hardly have any chance to win any major trophies.
One day I will.
But Modric and Iniesta both played for great national and club teams. Both played alongside great players throughout their prime. So while comparing them, a look into their trophy cabinet definitely makes sense. When it comes to international football, I don't think hardly anyone of this century can match Iniesta's trophy cabinet, as they own the incredible sandwich Euro World Cup and Euro in 2008, 10 and 12. But though Croatia is not a small team at all, they were not as big as Spain. But still Modric's Croatia managed to reach the final in 2018, and also this time they reached the semi-final, eliminating one of the title favorites Brazil in the quarter-final. Modric did win the Golden Ball also in 2018, which is something Iniesta doesn't have.
But I have something you don't have.
Now talking about their personal awards, the first thing that separates these two is the Ballon d'Or. Modric is the one who broke the insane run of a decade of Messi and Ronaldo to be the first person to win it in 2018 other than those two superhumans. I do feel it's an injustice that Iniesta never won the Ballon d'Or and actually think he or Snyder could have won it in 2010. But it is what it is, and Modric definitely is ahead of him in this. Both of them have won numerous personal awards in their career, but here let's just focus on the major one. Iniesta has been the La Liga best midfielder in 2009, 11, 12, 13, 14, so in total 5 times, whereas Modric won it in 2013, 14, 15, 16, so only 2 times.
Surely it's not that big a thing.
Are you kidding?
Modric was in the UEFA Champions League team of the season total 6 times, and Iniesta was in the UEFA team of the year 6 times too. It's fascinating to see, though Iniesta's Barcelona didn't win as many UCL trophies as Modric's Real Madrid, Iniesta still managed to be in the elite team the same amount of time as Modric. Iniesta was on FIFA FIFPro World 11 9 times, whereas Modric has appeared there 6 times. Modric basically outplayed Iniesta in 2018, where he has won the Ballon d'Or, World Cup Golden Ball and Best FIFA Men's Player Award. Anything close to that for Iniesta was only winning the UEFA Euro Player of the Tournament and UEFA Best Player in Europe award in 2012.
Okay, fine. But mine's better.
Both of them own numerous other not so major awards in their lifetime, and though Iniesta did appear in more awards, a couple of Modric awards honestly have way more weight than those Iniesta own, and I'd give Modric a point more here. One thing where Iniesta surpassed Modric is his contribution to top key moments of big matches. He scored the winning goal in the World Cup final and was the man of the match of that final when Spain lifted their World Cup trophy for the very first time. His goal in the dying moment of the semi-final against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge saw Barca through to the Champions League final, which Barcelona eventually won.
And I have made that happen!
I know Modric also has similar contribution in many different matches, but Iniesta's this kind of contribution is not only way more than Modric, but probably more than most players on the planet. So in this last part of the video, let's try to see them beyond the numbers. When it comes to beating the pressure and dribbling, there was hardly any midfielder as good as Iniesta, and honestly I think Iniesta's dribbling skill is almost as good as Messi.
He's right.
Modric, though equally press resistant, isn't really great at dribbling, but Modric's long pass is insanely good, probably one of the very best that I have ever seen. Modric actually plays a little deeper than Iniesta used to, and he's obviously better at defending. That's why Modric considered 98 yellow and 2 red cards in his career, whereas Iniesta had only 73 yellow cards and no red. It is often said Modric is more like Xavi than Iniesta. Though both of them are super important for their club and national team, I do believe Modric is a little more important in the team than Iniesta, as Iniesta had slightly better players playing in his sides than Modric, both at club and career level.
I need some better friends.
One of the main things that Modric has that hardly anyone has is his longevity and consistency. Though Iniesta is 2 years older than Modric, he left elite football in 2018 and played for J-League and other smaller clubs since then, whereas at the age of 37, Modric is still running the show at Madrid. My final take in this comparison is I loved watching Iniesta more than Modric. He was such an elegant midfielder and a treat to watch. I think Iniesta is more flashy than Modric, and his peak level play was better than Modric. He could change the course of a match with a sudden whim of his brilliance, whereas I think Modric is better than Iniesta in an overall understanding of the game, controlling the whole game from midfield and more consistent over time. As said, both of them will be among the top 5 midfielders of this century, so the difference between them is really tiny. That's it for today guys. Let us know in the comment what's your opinion on Modric and Iniesta, who you love more, and if you have a better midfielder than them in your mind. If you like this video, please dump a like and subscribe to our channel for more football related content like this. Until next time, tada.